Hello, welcome back to Statman Dave Clips. Today we're going to be taking a look at how Manchester United will set up this season. Of course, looking into formations, transfers, tactics, all that good stuff. Guys, if you are new around here, come over to Twitch, 11 a.m. every weekday through the season. We'll be waxing lyrical about football, but of course, subscribe here as well. Like the goddamn video. Anyway, let's dive in. Can they put in a title challenge? We'll talk a little bit about the signings that they've made in the off-season as well. But I think first and foremost, a great season from Gunnar Solskjaer's Reds, rampant Reds at times. Second in the Premier League behind Manchester City. Only 12 points behind. You think a few signings, you can bridge that gap. Title challenge. In terms of the signings Man United have made, of course, massively improves the starting 11. In terms of the starting 11, probably for the bigger games, we'll continue to see McFred at the base. Sancho coming in on the right. Varane coming in at right centre-half. Works really well. 4-2-3-1 will be what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer plays next season. I think the big part of that is allowing Bruno Fernandes the freedom to do what he wants. And that's what you got to give Bruno. So involved in the play high up from the pitch. One of these things where you're looking at a player of great quality that can just basically create something out of nothing. And you need to give him freedom. You really do need to give him that ability to drift. And I think that's what two defensive midfielders allows Man United to do. I'd like a bit more flexibility in the attack. Obviously, Man United defend in this shape, or defending basically 4-4-1-1 in a sense. But when they've got the ball, they kind of move up. They create basically a front four. They build with their sort of fullbacks in a sense. Wan-Bissaka, Jadon and Sancho go high. One of Scott and Fred drop into defence. And then we basically build with a back three. So it's kind of like this 3-3-4 shape. And I think it's decent. I think what I'd like a little bit more, we spoke about this previously, players coming off the line a lot more. And I think with Jadon Sancho's natural tendency to do that and get on the ball could be very, very good for Manchester United, because that's the issue against some of these low blocks. If they can cover the sort of block all the passes into midfield, this back sort of 3-3 shape struggles to progress the ball. We've seen a lot more of that movement in pre-season, coming off the line and receiving to feet. Ideally, you want to pin with your wingers, and you want your two central players to come and receive, creating this like wide 3-5-2 shape. Be it Rashford dropping into those positions, be it Bruno going wide and Sancho dropping in. That's kind of what I want to see. A little bit more bodies in that centre of the pitch. Of course, at the start of the season, Man United will have to move a few players into different positions. Paul Pogba will come onto the left wing and provide a little bit of creativity from that zone. Sancho will probably play wide right. But also in midfield, I think we've seen some interesting combinations, especially Nemanja Matic and Donny van der Beek. And I think those two, as a combo in defensive midfield, can be used against these teams that sit into these low blocks. And I think naturally what that will give Manchester United is Luke Shaw's going to be a little bit higher. Pogba's going to be a little bit more inside. And I think it will allow a little bit more of a kind of a 3-6-1 shape in a sense. Sancho slightly more inside. Pogba, Bruno taking up those positions. Take like a lopsided two-man strike force, midfield three here, two wing-backs on either side, and then a back three to create. And I think that gives United a lot more in an attacking sense. And this is what United should do against those weaker teams. The teams where United dominate the ball, I think it's very, very important to get in. Obviously, one man we've not even spoke about, Mason Greenwood, that started really well. Obviously, Jadon Sancho will come into the side later on, but kind of expect it to maybe Mason from the start. And Anthony Martial, who's had a great haircut, but I think needs to step up again. Really needs to step up and kind of push forward. And it probably will be this from the get-go in a sense, and an attacking structure. Obviously, from a simplistic formation perspective, the 4-2-3-1, Matic, Van der Beek in midfield. Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Pogba, Bruno, Mason Greenwood. I think that'll be one of the lineups that could be used in certain games. I feel like, you've got a striker out wide and Mason Greenwood that will get you goals. Paul Pogba's going to come inside and create. I think Luke Shaw's going to provide a lot of width in the final third, from an attacking perspective, which would be quite well. I'd also like to see Luke Shaw in central midfield at times. But if we take a look at some of the players that have been obviously brought in, Jadon Sancho brought in from Borussia Dortmund, playing left, right, or even, let's say if Paul Pogba's in a deeper position, on that left-hand side, combining with Luke Shaw on the overlap. It's a big thing with Sancho, mentioned that many a time. Great player to play off people. His Bundesliga, his time at the Bundesliga, absolutely fantastic. 7,500 minutes, completed 332 dribbles, created 215 chances, had 152 shots, won 46 fouls, created 45 goals, so 45 assists, and scored 38 times. Very, very good numbers from Jadon Sancho, and will add a lot to Man United attack. Left wing, right wing, attacking midfield. Even as a striker, we'll see a lot of fluidity, I think, with Man United up top, with rotation and positions like we saw. Sancho moving inside, Bruno moving wide, Greenwood moving inside, Sancho moving wide right. I think the fluidity between the front four at any time could be quite important for United. And when we think, long term, having Marcus Rashford in there as well, either as a number 9 or Cavani comes back into the side, throw Cavani up top, Rashford on the left hand side, Bruno in behind, and of course Sancho on the right. That is a disgusting team. Really, really good team. Obviously the balance of Matic and Pogba against the weaker teams, or Matic and Donny, as we previously mentioned, to move the ball forward. Then in the bigger games, obviously McFred's going to come back in. And I think having a number of central midfielders is quite important in the modern game because of the fact of a lot of games, a lot of tournaments, a lot of competitions, and central midfield is physically the most demanding position in terms of distance covered and so forth. Also throw in Donny in there. You provide creativity. You could go with if you want a goal scorer in there. I think you've got McTominay, who's shown a great ability to arrive in the box, especially, take the game against Leeds United, where he was absolutely sensational in that game. I think Raphael Varane as well massively improves United's ball playing and improves the composure in the penalty area, but also that covering as well, with Maguire being a little bit more aggressive. You can kind of build a real relationship where Maguire is now comfortable with someone like Victor, or with someone like Raphael Varane, to step out and knowing that his French teammate is going to be able to sweep up and, completely clean up any problems. Big season for Mason Greenwood as well. Big season for Mason Greenwood. Obviously, he'll be starting the season on the right-hand side. Sancho probably on the left-hand side. Mason Greenwood scored 6 goals in his last 8 Premier League games in the 2021 season. Finished really well. That was after scoring 1 in the first 23, so did well. Mason Greenwood scored 17 Premier League goals in total, with only 4 players netting more as a teenager in the comp: Michael Owen, Robbie Fowler, Wayne Rooney, and Nicholas Anelka. So definitely a player to build around. Martial's another one as well, if he can get firing at the start of the season. Could be the one if we take Martial from the 1920 season, Ollie's first 17 Premier League goals, and his relationship with Rashford was very, very, very good in there. I think there's options up front, but there's options. There's also kind of different games and different situations where they could work. And kind of push forward. Cavani, again, like the impact that he had, especially off the bench. He was a great option off the bench. Scored himself 5 match-winning goals at the end, 17 in total. Had 61 shots, 29 on target, and created 5 goals, 5 assists. So it could be a great option as well for United going forward. And with Sancho in there, Bruno creating for him, going to work really well. I think in terms of focusing back on Donny van der Beek and why he'll be good against these teams that play maybe a little bit more defensively, and maybe why, you could have him in the side. It's kind of that style that he's got, very one touch in his passing, receive to feet, play it, take 1-2 touches and then he'll move it. And I think that's something that United need a little bit more. Tempo in that defensive midfield position is playing a bit quicker in that zone. I think too many times United slow the play down in this zone, get closed down, take too many touches on the ball, and that's something that Donny really has in abundance, is moving the ball quickly, is moving it on. And I think if we look at games where Donny has played DM for United, the standout games, shall we say, there's a few that kind of that jump out from last season. I think first and foremost the performance against Istanbul Başakşehir was really, really good. I'm just going to try and find his numbers and his game. Rolling through Donny's games. I think Donny could be built out in the 4-1 win over Istanbul Başakşehir, We saw kind of the level of Donny and what he could do in possession of the football. Moved it really quickly. 1-2 touches, broke the lines really, really well. Completed 100% of his dribbles in that game, 88% pass accuracy, took 73 touches and created 2 chances. It was a really good game from defensive midfield, if you remember. And his other performance I want to bring out was the Southampton game. A bit more of a diamond maybe from Ollie this day. Completed 100% of his dribbles, 82% of his passes, recovered the ball 10 times, 4 tackles, 1 out of 6. Some good numbers. And I think the big thing with Donny is kind of getting him on the ball in these deep areas, allow him to create, allow him to move the ball. Could be a massive asset for United. Of course, the thing with Donny obviously came into the United side as an attacking midfielder, as a brilliant attacking midfielder. Take any of his performances for Ajax in the Champions League, like absolutely superb. But very much came in as goal-scoring attacking midfielder that was very simple and quick in possession. Many performances in the Champions League that did supremely well. A goal and assist against Valencia, very much from number 10, very much not the creative point of the team. We had the likes of Tadic, Ziyech, Proms around him, which allowed him to just move off the ball and do what he does best, which is score goals, but also press and engage. 2 out of his 5 tackles, 1, 3 interceptions. But he was an attacking mid. And I think it's going to take time for him to move forward. But, a player that's schooled at Ajax, we don't really know where their position is ever going to be. So kind of confident in Donny to improve and to kind of progress as a footballer in Man United's team. And we mentioned the build-up as well. It will be very much Matic moving wide left if he's going to play, or even Fred could be as a combo. But it just adds a lot more option for United in midfield for sure. And that's something that this is Donny season. Hope it's Donny season, I really do. Hopefully stays injury free is a big thing for Manchester United. But it's an exciting season on the back of a very, very good season with, you take a look at some of the top players for United, like Bruno Fernandes. Just to conclude here, Bruno Fernandes is the reason why we're playing 4-2-3-1. Just because of his quality. So good. Premier League last season was an absolute joke. 18 goals and 12 assists, I think we've forgotten how good Bruno Fernandes is. And the big thing when you look at Bruno is he's very much a complete modern-day midfielder. Aggressive, presses supremely well, wins the ball back, 3.3 shots per game, 2.6 chances created. He's so good. And there's so many games where you look at Bruno and he's kind of really carried United in an attacking sense. The game against Roma was an absolute joke. He was so good that day. The perfect 10 on SofaScore. Really important all over the pitch. And I think that's the fluidity and freedom that you get when you play Bruno Fernandes at number 10 versus playing central midfield. He's going to be deeper and he needs that freedom. 6 chances created that day. Whopping 5 shots, 2 goals and 2 assists. That's why Bruno needs to play number 10. To be the perfect number 10. Lovely stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. They are my thoughts on Manchester United. If you want to get involved in the comments, let me know where you think United are going to finish, what will be the best formation, and of course, how they're going to play when Bruno, Jadon, and Marcus are back. Let's get this party started.